Hey guys, welcome to Guidos Heroes. I'm about to introduce somebody that has been one of my all-time idols throughout, um, since I was probably 14 years old, alright? This dude has influenced me beyond any other, and I just hope that I can become half the man that he is. This is Henry Rollins. He was born on February 13th, 1961. He's a writer, journalist, comedian, publisher, spoken word artist, songwriter, and singer, activist, radio DJ, and actor. And this is why he is my hero.
I really enjoy it, and whenever I'm here, whenever I'm here, it's always a countdown to when I leave. I'm here for 5 days or 3 days or whatever, and I always kind of mourn like I have to leave soon. And whenever I leave New York, it feels like I've left a limb behind because it's such an amazing place. Many years ago, I started coming here. I joined a band called Black Flag in the summer of 1981. Thank you. And I actually joined the band by singing a song with the band right behind here. They had done a show at Irving Plaza with the Bad Brains and UXA opening. What a show. I still have my ticket stub. And I knew them, and I drove my VW Fastback, a 1968 model, with the hood dented in the front where a mace canister bounced off it as my mother and I navigated our way through a riot of that year. And like, don't worry, honey, we'll get home. She's pretty cool. Anyway, and so they went to go play another show at a bar back there, just because, play more, meet the chicks. And the sun's coming up, and I still have to work like a 9-hour shift at my $3.75 an hour job in Washington, D.C. So I'm looking at the watch. I'm like, man, I gotta go. I really want to see another set of Black Flag. Who wouldn't? But I gotta go. So I said to the band, I said, can you play a song for me? It's a song that they had called Clocked In. It's about going to work and how much it sucks. And I said, can you play that song for me? Because I want to hear it. I gotta go. And the singer, Des, said, this is for Henry because he has to go to work. And like all 8 people went, all right. And then Des looked at me, and I looked at him, and he went, well, you better sing it. I was like, oh, damn, I get to be in Black Flag for 37 seconds. It's a short song. And I hop on stage. I do the song as best I know, basically, lungs exploding, veins popping out of my neck and forehead. And I remember everyone in the audience, like all 8 of them were like, gee, is that guy okay? And even the guys in the mirror were like, wow, like, what's in the you live? And I said, thanks, that was about the best thing that ever happened to me. And then I hopped in my car and I went to work, and I got a phone call later that day. It was one of the band members said, that was pretty cool. You want to come back up to New York and audition to be in the band? I was like, let's see. A life in the minimum wage working world, either parking cars, scooping ice cream, scooping dog droppings, or asking if you want a larger order of fries in with your order for no extra charge this month. And I went, yeah, I'll do that.
I don't know which came first, shitty rave music or the drugs, okay? Like, did these guys come up, get their Macintosh computers out and hire DJ Fuckhead? And get a drummer to come in and go, doo, 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 doo. Okay, thank you, you can leave. They've sampled it. Doo, 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 doo. Fuckhead, DJ Fuckhead. I know talent. I know talent. No talent. I play other people's records. My friends, there is nothing like going to a Euro music festival and hanging out with these like super self-important guys who carry suitcases of records. And what are you? I'm a musician, man. I'm a DJ. You're a fucking thief of music. You're a record player. You're a DJ turntable. You can take a Sam Cooke record, you can take Sam Cooke's Sweat and make it sound like something different because you go, vicka, 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 vicka. You can kiss my fucking ass, okay? Fuck, I guess I'm just an over-the-hill 40-year-old curmudgeon who's totally lost the plot, but I think that shit sucks. But anyway, so you have that do 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 do. Oh wow, it's jungle trance hip hop fucking shit music. And so I wonder if it was just these non-music fuckheads who are, you know, sitting in their house one day and they dicked around on a Macintosh. They go, listen, get the drum sample. Here, put that on a white label 12-inch. Send it to the clubs. Wow, man, you're brilliant. We'll put you on the cover of NME. You're fucking genius, man. You're fucking genius. Okay, so I wonder what came first, the shitty music or the drugs? So you make music that shitty and everyone sits around and goes, God, this sucks. No, take these drugs. Play the record again. Fuck, that's so good. Fuck. Or were there just a bunch of people sitting in a warehouse with a bunch of ketamine and ecstasy, and they took a bunch of it, and someone said, here, now make some music. Yeah, man, right. Do a thing, yeah. Fuckhead, fuckhead, right. And so I have always wondered what came first, the shitty music or the shitty drugs. But it's all come together in a really beautiful way. And so I would seek to basically censor some of these people so we could get back to some other shit and maybe get some real jazz and some real R&B and some real soul and some real rock and roll and all the other groovy stuff too, but just less of the dairy-freeze, here's your CD, here's your CD. Because if you listen to like modern rock radio, you'll hear like 6 songs, one after the other, and they all sound like about the first half of a really boring, mediocre CD. When you find out it's 6 different bands, that's what's really bad, because Pro Tools and vocal pitching has made all these bands sound the same, and they all seem to utilize the same singer, who does that, yeah, hell yeah, yeah, and you can never tell what they say in the verse. It's like, oh, my name, so messy, yeah, yeah, like, what the fuck? Is that the Creed bitch or the Days of the New Guy? And it's just like, yeah, 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 and these guys step down on a power chord, it's like, pring. What the fuck happened, you guys? Where's the balls? I mean, are these people born with that testosterone? I mean, I just remember when I was 18, I wanted to fuck on the floor and break shit. When I was 25, I wanted to fuck on the floor and break shit. When I was 35, I wanted to fuck on the floor and break shit. Now I'm 40, I want to fuck on the floor and break shit. I mean, what the fuck? And why are all these rock bands so nice now? Aren't there people around who just like want to put on a record and like wreck everything in sight? Fuck! And that's what I think. So there's that. Here's something else, and this is an odd thing to say. I feel vulnerable and I feel stupid saying it, but it's true, so I'm compelled to do so. Many years ago, like in 1850, I was young, and I lived in Washington, D.C. That's where I come from, the East Coast of America, where the White House is, where Watergate is, and all of that. It's a good town. It's a scary place at times. And so I was born in 1961, and I came up through the 60s, and I was going to a public school in D.C., and I was one of only a few white kids, and there's a lot of black kids in the school, few white kids, and so there's some racial tension there. And I remember one kid came up to me one day, hit me in the face, and took my lunch. And when you're little, I don't know how many of you have been hit in the face. It's not good, like really hit in the face, like really pasted. It fucks you up for life. It kind of ruins your sense of this is my personal space, because someone leans in and goes, it just takes it from you. And when you're this high and it happens and a kid really cracks you right in the mush, I pissed my pants, my knees knocked together. I mean, I'm not going to tell you some fake story and say like, come on, I'm going to get, I was like, I was terrified. And the guy just came up out of nowhere, bam, and he took my lunch, my little brown bag lunch. What? And he said, because you killed my king. I'm like, I killed your king? And I went back after school and I told my mom, she said, Henry, he's talking about Martin Luther King, and you didn't kill Martin Luther King. So I basically asked her, what do I do when the kid comes up, punches me in the mouth, takes my lunch, and says I killed Martin Luther King? Because I was not aware of killing anybody at that age. And she told me some of the best lies that she ever told me in her life. And she said, well, the truth part was, she said, well, Henry, things are very difficult right now. And we're in a tough time in America. There's a lot of people who are very angry. That kid, he's just getting bad information. He knows that you didn't kill Martin Luther King. Someone told him that. And so he's wrong, but he doesn't really hate you. He's just kind of getting the wrong information. Like, oh, well, what do I do? And she said, the next time someone is mean to you, you just stick out your hand and say, hi, my name is Henry. Like, oh, what if I cry? Because that's a thing with little kids. You're afraid of the humiliation more than the actual pain. And so I said, what if I
cry. And she said, honey, if you smile, no one will be able to tell you're crying. And I knew it was bullshit. But I wanted to believe it so bad because I had to go to this school 5 days a week. And I was so terrified of going to this school. I'd be up at like 5 in the morning with my stomach like, oh, because I did not know what was going to happen to me every single day. And so I went in there and the kids like, you know, like in my face, like, I'm like, my name is Henry. The white boy's crying. I'm like, oh, fuck, no, I'm not. My name is Henry. I want to make friends. And that was the thing that politicized me, okay? And I said, well, racism obviously sucks because I don't want to give this back. It never occurred to me to go like, you black people suck because you killed... I had nothing there. It didn't work for me. And so I never got onto the racist thing. I didn't bother with it.
I just get in the pit and I annihilate people.
You come here and expect to get hurt or just get out of the pit.
Back in the 70s, slam dancing used to be a lot more brutal. I mean, it's still, in the essence, beating each other up, but it's a lot more fun to look at.
There's a bunch of people, you know, beating the snot out of each other.
Stage diving.
Running around in circles.
The windmill.
The coolest thing is when you see these guys come to gigs with arm pads and knee pads.
Of course there's violence in moshing or slamming or whatever it's called. That's what takes it onto a different level.
Sometimes before gigs you'll see guys stretching, limbering up, getting ready like it's some kind of sport.
The day will come when people just say, oh, moshing's terrible, and there'll be all sorts of government films about the evils of moshing.
I got kicked in the head, I got kicked in the ribs, everything. It was awesome.
It could be a viable artistic dance form that just involved violence.
It's very aggressive and it's very energetic.
Things have changed, it's gotten a lot more artistic, and people are coming up with new moves and actually making an art out of it.
It's so much excitement. That's where the excitement is.
I reckon as long as no one gets hurt, it's a pretty creative outlet.
I read a piece that you wrote, I think, not too long ago about the family. They had a little girl, it was two lesbians with a little girl, and they weren't permitted to be part of the...
That was in Boulder, Colorado. The Catholic school they put the kid in said, we're not going to re-enroll the kid because we disapprove of the way you conduct your life. Mm-hmm. And I was happy that the kid got expelled because maybe the kid has a chance now. They can be put into a place without discrimination that doesn't eventually make part of the curriculum to exclude people like homosexuals. And homosexuality happens all over the world. I'm sure there's gay people who are Catholics. How do they reconcile that? How do they reconcile that their religion doesn't, at some point in the paperwork, doesn't like them? Yeah. And I'm making a great distinction between a homosexual and a pedophile. They're two different species. And so there's a gray area with the Catholic Church, Inc., not Catholics, right. but the machinery. They seem to don't like the gay, but there's an odd gray area with their policy with pedophilia.
I love that piece, and I love that it just flips, because most people are thinking, well, how do we get them in? And your piece immediately was, why get in? Don't go in.
Why
there.
Get in? In fact, why don't you leave? Why don't you run and find a God who likes you?
Yeah. The gay marriage thing falls into the same thing. That marriage itself hasn't worked so great that maybe the gays shouldn't think, how can we just make this better, rather than ask to be in this club?
Yeah, I love the idea of a civil union. Like, you see all these religions, they don't want you.
Yeah.
Like, why would you go to a party where everyone's like, oh, he's here, what a drag. Yeah. Like, why don't you go elsewhere? I wouldn't want to show up to a place I wasn't wanted. I wouldn't want to be the round or the square peg ramming myself into that round hole. I'd go elsewhere. Yeah. And I'm not saying, oh, because you're a coward. No, because these people are a drag. Oh, what was it? Those awful people with their signs. God hates fags.
Oh yeah, Westboro.
Well, then find a
Baptist
different.
Church.
They're out of their minds, and they don't speak of Christianity as in a broader brush. But when you encounter that kind of hatred, man, go leave.
I think that school, the preschool, did those parents a favor.
It really is a great point. And also, you could limit everything. If it wasn't for Studio 54 saying, no, we're not letting bands in, you probably wouldn't have had CBGBs that you all... Sometimes you need that thing to say, we're not going to be part of.
Or
make something better.
A proper reaction to it. I don't necessarily think we need, like, you need a war for people to dig peace. Well, I don't want to slaughter 30,000 people to come up with the idea that peace is a good idea. But when something is bad, like something like a Studio 54, like, okay, no live bands. Well, someone came up with a good idea. Instead of going, oh, no live band, they went, wait a minute, let's do a thing over here.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you've got CBGBs, which is, benefit all of us.
Yeah.
So good things happen when the sand gets in the oyster's eye. Every once in a while you get a pearl.
Yeah.
This is a story about two boys. One boy was born in California, conceived in the Midwest in 1961. Another boy was conceived in Washington, D.C. and born in a snowstorm in Washington, D.C. in 1961 at D.C. Columbia Hospital. Each boy grew up feeling totally alienated, totally weird, totally convinced that he came from a different planet. Each of them had one stroke of good fortune. They crossed paths, and it was just by sheer luck these two aliens crossed paths. They became incredible friends and had a friendship that was beyond words, that was beyond thought. They could finish each other's sentences. When they were together, they were so telepathic. It's like they were brothers. It's like they shared the same mind. When they were together, they used to call themselves the chosen one. Everything the other one said was awesome. People around them used to say, why don't you guys just get it over with and fuck each other, okay? The two would laugh at them and know that these people had no idea how cool the other one was. They would argue with each other. You're awesome. No, you're awesome. No, you're awesome. No, you're awesome. But you're the man. No, you're the man. I guess I am the man. You are. No, but you are. On and into the night. They would watch really stupid movies for their comedic impact. Anything with Sylvester Stallone. The more serious the movie, the more the boys would laugh. They worked very hard in the living room, aping Sylvester Stallone's sagging face. They dissected the movie over the top as one dissects Moby Dick or Ulysses. They got down every nuance of Sly's tortured face. They believed they were the funniest, coolest, most awesome guys on the planet. Together, they were invincible walls of mirth. They did so much cool shit, you will never be able to finish a book about the two of them. The epic movie could never be made because Lawrence of Arabia was 4 hours and it was too long for theatrical release. This would have to be about 50 hours and just no one would take it on. And you couldn't release a film called The Two Most Awesome Dudes Who Ever Was. The two guys spent years together, traveling through many countries, going through high times, low times, times of no money, no hope, no chicks, no friends, nothing but each other. A little while down the line, one comes into some money and says, hey man, you're living in that dump. I got this cool place over here, and you're awesome, and you can't be living in a dump. why don't you live here? And the other one said, that's great, that way we'll always be together and we will be the chosen one. The mind will be in full effect at all times, and Earth will come to us. We will be awesome at all times. And each one knew the other one was right. So they shared a house, and it was amazing. They went to the Whiskey a Go-Go one night to watch a band. It did not matter what band it could have been. It did not matter who was with them. No one survived the treatment they gave people. It could have been Black Sabbath in 1972, their common favorite band, and they still would have bagged on Ozzy, because everything was funny when they were together. So the two of them are watching a band at the Whiskey, laughing until they urinate their pants at how funny the band is, when actually the band is kicking much ass. They're making it into the worst gig on earth and having the greatest time. People are passing them, recognizing both of them and saying hello. The two say hello back, and once the person who said hello turns away, they make stabbing motions at that person's ass with air knives. And laugh and high-five and bond even further. The two boys were a walking riot at all times. Maybe not to anyone else, but each other. They left the Whiskey, and they went all the way through West Hollywood towards Venice with their middle fingers out the window, flipping off all of West Hollywood and westward. Very immature, but they thought they were the funniest fuckers on earth. And they were. They got back to the house in time to go to the video store to rent Rocky V. And they even started getting ready for the movie 2 hours before they would watch it by looking at each other and saying, go for it. No, you go for it. No, you fuck me. No, I'll fuck. No, you fuck me. No, I'll go for it. No, you go for it. Hey, you gotta go for it, right? I got pulled out of the womb, right? With a monkey wrench. That's why half my face doesn't work. And that's why over the top, you see me when I'm going, I take it and I take it over the top. You see my face and I go, A lot of people said I'm an idiot, right? But I'm very erudite. I mean, if Mel Gibson can do Hamlet, I can do Macbeth, right? Look, to be or not to be. See, I can do that, right? A lot of people don't know that I'm a very erudite and intense actor, man. But one day people will see my full potential. They think I'm a meathead. But what they don't understand is I'm worth $160 million, right? They might hate me, but I could buy them. The two boys laughed all the way back from the video store knowing that Rocky V was going to be the greatest movie ever made because those two would be watching it. And they decide that right before the film, they better go get some food so they can eat hearty as they watch this incredible film that's going to make them laugh until they piss their pants. They go to the store and they buy their food and they're walking down the street making fun of Sylvester Stallone like there's no tomorrow. And they're 30 feet away from their shared home and they're laughing and saying, yeah, you go for it. No, I'll go for it. You gotta go for it, because if you don't go for it, someone else will, right? And then you're just standing around. That's why I go for it always, right? And some of the films I make, right, are kind of stupid, like that one, Rhinestone, right? A lot of people say that guy's a moron, right? I mean, that movie's so gross, I can't even watch it, right? And right then, two guys came out of the bushes and put guns in their faces and said, this is a holdup. And the two guys went, okay. And the boy who was born in Washington, D.C. was told to get on his knees, and he got on his knees, and he had a gun at the back of his head. He looked over at his buddy who was born in California, and he looks down, and the boy from California is lying face down on the sidewalk with a gun at the back of his head, and then a moment later, the two boys were ordered to get up and walk towards their own house, because they were going to go inside. The boy from Washington, D.C. is the one who had the key and knew very clearly that once they were taken in, they were going to be marched into the back room, told to kneel down on the ground, and they would be shot execution style in the back of the head. So the boy from Washington, D.C. realized they had about 45 to 60 seconds to live and was vainly trying to figure out a way to turn this all around. The boy from Washington, D.C. opened up the door, took 5 steps in, dropped the groceries, saw that the TV was on, furiously thought of an idea of maybe trying to give these 2 sons of bitches the VCR and the television, and maybe they would just go the fuck away, when the boy from Washington, D.C. heard a slight scuffle. Bang! He ran out of the back of the house, ran up an alley, made a left, made a right, made a left, went to a phone call, dialed 911 and said, I live at 809 Brooks Avenue in Venice, California, and there was a shooting at my house. Can you please come here? So I walked into the middle of the street, not knowing what the fuck to do with myself. 30 seconds later, a plainclothes cop car comes racing up the street towards me, orders that I go to the side of the curb and put my hands on my head. They arrest me, throw me in the back of a car, drive me up to my own house, and keep me there for 20 minutes and make fag jokes outside the car and point at me and call me sweetie. I keep asking in vain, can you please tell me what happened to my friend Joe Cole? He might want to know how I'm doing. He might be scared. I need to talk to my friend Joe Cole. He's my roommate. He's my best friend. Where's Joe Cole? And the cop said, sweetheart, just calm down. We need some details on your partner. My partner? And the cop said, yeah, what's your partner's name? I said, my partner, my roommate, my other half is Joe Cole. He's 30 years old. And can you please take me out of these cuffs? I haven't done anything wrong. Why have you arrested me? I need to talk to my friend. Do you need the key to my house? You might need to get in there. Some guys had guns and they put them to us and there's a shooting. Can you tell me what's going on? Finally, one cop sits down in the car and he's working on his piece of paper on his clipboard. I said, excuse me, sir, my hands are turning blue, and also can you please tell me what happened to my friend Joe Cole? And the cop turns around with very studied nonchalance and he said, oh, he's dead. And went back to his clipboard and wrote like it was no big deal. So they held me for about 9 or 10 hours at the police station and let me go in the morning, and my friend took me back to my house, and we were preparing to clean up as much blood as comes out of a 6'4" young man who gets shot in the left cheek. And I was getting ready to mop up that living room, and me and my friend were saying, we can do this, right? Yeah, we can do this. And we're getting psyched up to mop up so much blood. And we get to the front porch, and there's television reporters there, National Enquirer, and there's a big puddle of blood right on the dirt on the front porch, and there's flies eating it. And I look down, and this puddle of blood is very big and very deep and very viscous, and there's a lot of flies eating my dead friend's blood, and that was Joe Cole, man. And so I went by the reporters, and I've never said no comment to a reporter in my life. I said fuck you a lot of times, but I've never said no comment. I felt like I was in Watergate or something. So I walked into the place, and I had to go right into Joe Cole's room and get his phone book and call every single fucking number in that phone book from A to Z and tell them the most horrible news I could think of. Between phone calls, I would have to steady myself so I wouldn't start crying and convulsing. I would have to calm myself down so I could make the next phone call. So when I talked to that person would hear a voice and not somebody on the other line going. So I did that for a while. And then it took us a couple of days of frantic moving, and we moved every piece of furniture and gear out of that house and threw it in a storage space. And I lived in someone's office for a few weeks and went on tour. And I'll tell you what, man, all that talk about kill a motherfucker like it ain't no thing and all that tough gang-banging shit, you know what? I think it's fucked up and stupid. Because when someone dies, it's not like in those movies like Lethal Weapon 3 where they just die, and you know how Mel seems to kill people and never has to really answer for it, and the bodies stack up, and afterwards he just paid $7.50 to see a lot of cars blow up, a lot of silicone impregnated breasts, and a lot of dead bodies. You know what happens when people get shot? They don't struggle for air and say something witty and dramatic as they die. They just fall on the ground, shit their pants, and have their brains gone at the back of their fucking head, man. The last few months have been really hard. It's been really rough, but there's one upside to the whole thing. Because, like I said, I got enough horror to sink your ship, okay? And who needs to hear it? It just will bum you out, and it's just a self-indulgent blues jam, and I'm not going to pull you through it because I pulled you through it enough. There's one good thing that comes from this. When something this powerful happens, there's a powerful lesson you can get. And here's what. I'm not trying to say I'm some goody-goody, you know, oh, I love you all, and that new wave shit. But look, I don't know many of you people. I don't even know how many of you are here tonight, but I'll tell you one thing. I like all of you, all right? And I don't like all of you like I want to move into your house. I want you to come over and hang out with me and shit. I mean, but I like you. I really do. And I'm really glad you're here. Not because you paid whatever to get in here, because you're alive. And I don't even know you, and I love your life because you got one. And if Joe was here now, he'd be here, but he's not. And I don't believe in an afterlife. You step on a bug, it dies. I shoot you in your face and you die, and you don't come back. And that's my belief, okay? There's no ghosts. There's no afterlife. I'm not a spiritual person. I'm a kind of a cash and carry guy. Wash and wear. So, with that belief in mind, I reckon that while you are here, since you're not going to Disneyland and all that shit, and hang out with Jim Morrison and get to jam with Hendrix and Miles and all that cool shit, if I were you, I would really kick a lot of ass while you're here. Because when you're dead and you die, you're fucked. Because you don't get to go hang out and do cool shit anymore. So if you're thinking of going home and putting a fucking needle in your vein and shooting heroin, always know one thing. At least my opinion is, that's fucked. Okay? Glorious thoughts of suicide. If you ever kill yourself, I would love to be able to bring you back to life just so I could kick your ass. I think there's just no time for drinking this Jack Daniels poison. There's no time for hanging yourself. There's no time for blowing your brains out. There's no time for heroin. As bad as life is, people like Daryl Gates, you know, people training you to be a racist moron. There's a lot of bad shit out there, and as bad as life gets, life is fucking awesome, man. Because the alternative, going to a funeral, looking at a little plastic box that contains your friend, sucks. So all of you are the same on one level. All of you in here are just like me in one way. You're all breathing. And that's the coolest, man. And you have to go with that. Because there's nothing else to go with. That's the only break you get. You get to live tomorrow. You get to go on. You get to move forward. And it might not seem like much, but for me, it's right now, it's all I'm hanging on to. And it's all I've got going. And it's what I'm going to stick with. So, on that note, I just want you to know that I hope you had a great fucking time tonight. I want you to live two ways, long and strong. Good night.